Every game begins the same way.
Attention, Birdland! Before we dive deep into the hottest news about the O's, I have a direct appeal for you. Subscribe to the channel. Only here can you find the fastest, deepest, and most accurate analysis on the daily life of the Baltimore Orioles, with the perspective of someone who breathes, lives, and understands the soul of our team. We aren't just a channel, we are your source of reliable information and the link that connects us to the team we love so much. Come be a part of the family, come to Orioles Fan Central and get the news firsthand. Hello everyone and welcome back to Orioles Fan Central. I am your host, and today we have news that for me is the most significant of late. Something that could redefine the future of the franchise. It is with the weight of journalistic responsibility that I bring you this analysis. Our team, the O's, is at a moment of transition, a turning point that forces us to look to the future with the same seriousness that we look at the glories of the past. As you know, this year was a cold shower. After 2 glorious seasons where we dominated the American League and made the playoffs, 2025 showed us the cruelty of baseball. Injuries and a lack of consistency undermined our campaign. And now, with the trade deadline in the rearview mirror, the front office is turning to a plan that could be crucial for 2026 and beyond. They released veterans, making room for youth with names like Dylan Beavers, Kobe Mayo, and most notably Samuel Basallo. The intention is clear: give playing time to our new crop, test who is ready for the challenge, and build a competitive team for next season. It's a long-term, sensible, and necessary strategy. But in the middle of this renewal process, an uncomfortable question hangs in the air, and it touches on one of our greatest talents, a piece that seemed unshakable in our rebuild. What is happening with Adley Rutschman? The reality is harsh, Birdland, and we need to face it. The rise of Samuel Basallo raises a question that seemed unthinkable a year ago. Is Adley Rutschman still part of our long-term plans? Or could the regression of his game be the signal for a drastic change? This is not an easy question, and I know it touches the heart of each of you who so love the player he was. But as journalists, our obligation is to analyze the facts, not the feelings. And the facts are concerning. After a much worse than expected second half of 2024, Rutschman's numbers in 2025 are alarming. A batting average of just .227, with a .310 on base percentage and a .373 slugging percentage. 9 home runs and 29 RBIs in 85 games. This is not the all-star player we saw in previous seasons. It's a shadow of himself. And this regression is not an isolated phenomenon, it's a trend that has deepened. He had a brief glimmer in June, but soon after returning from the injured list, his performance fell again. It's a warning sign, a huge warning sign, and the franchise needs to make a tough decision. Basallo's entry into the main team is not just a test, it's a real and viable alternative. Basallo is an elite prospect, a name for the future, and he's showing that he has the talent to be an impact player in Major League Baseball. Meanwhile, Rutschman's performance, which was once a pillar of our offense, has become a vulnerability. Adley's time to prove he is still the same player is running out, and what he does for the rest of the season will be crucial for his future with the team. The situation with Adley Rutschman is a dilemma that the Orioles front office needs to resolve with the utmost urgency. Our eyes and ears at Birdland Park report a growing concern in the front office corridors. It's a two-sided problem. On one hand, we have the Adley we know and love, the heart of the team, the natural leader, the catcher who changed the culture of our franchise when he came up to the big league. He is the symbol of the O's rebirth, and his presence, in theory, inspires everyone. But on the other hand, we have the 2025 player, the guy who is not producing offensively, whose statistics have been in free fall for over a year. And every time he fails to drive in a run in a crucial situation, every time the bat seems lifeless, the ghost of doubt grows. The question everyone in Baltimore is asking is, are we witnessing a slump or a permanent regression? The difference between the two is the difference between patience and action. If it's just a slump, the front office should keep the faith and wait for him to recover. But if the decline is permanent, if his talent is no longer the same, then the Orioles need to act. Professional sports is ultimately a business, And emotion cannot dictate decisions that affect the future of the franchise. The statistics do not lie. Adley is not playing like an elite player, and that affects the entire lineup. For a team that has ambitions of returning to the top, carrying a player who was once a star but is now a low production piece may be a luxury we cannot afford. And this is where Samuel Basallo comes. The 21-year-old prospect has shown impressive maturity at the plate and defensive skills that have evolved with each game. He is not just a promise, he is a reality in the making. He offers the front office an immediate and extremely cost-effective alternative. With Basallo's rise, the pressure on Rutschman only increases. Is Basallo ready to take on the role of starting catcher? From what we've seen so far, the answer is yes. And if he's ready, what does that mean for Adley? Could the front office try a trade? It would be a risky move, but it could free up important salary resources and who knows, bring back a solid arm, an urgent need for our pitching staff. A trade involving a player like Adley would be an earthquake for the fan base, no doubt. But if the move is made based on a cold, calculated analysis of the facts, it could be the chess move that guarantees the O's future success. The team's management has been remarkably pragmatic in its decisions, and recent history shows us that they are not afraid to make unpopular decisions if they believe they are for the greater good of the franchise. The rest of the 2025 season will therefore be a period of intense evaluation. Every hit, every RBI, every strikeout by Rutschman will be analyzed under a microscope. The fate of one of our greatest idols is in his own hands, and the future of the Orioles may depend on how he performs. The situation with Adley Rutschman cannot be viewed in isolation. It is part of a larger picture that includes the financial health of the franchise and the competitive window that the O's have ahead of them. With names like Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, and Samuel Basallo themselves emerging as the new core of the team, the front office needs to ensure that the payroll is aligned with on-field production. Rutschman still has years on his contract under club control, and a decision now would have significant financial implications. However, if his performance does not improve, he becomes a liability, not an asset. And a liability, especially one that occupies a crucial spot in the lineup and on the payroll, can compromise the team's future. The Orioles' window of opportunity is now. The team has plenty of young talent, but this talent needs to be surrounded by players who produce consistently. The front office is at a crossroads. Keeping Rutschman despite his decline can be seen as a sign of faith, a vote of confidence that he will regain his form. But it can also be seen as a risky gamble, especially with Basallo knocking on the door, ready to take the lead. It's a choice between tradition and pragmatism, between emotion and reason. The fan base, the Birdland that lives and breathes with every O in the national anthem, expects a decision that will take the O's back to the top. And for that, a cold and analytical eye is necessary. The rest of the 2025 season will be the decisive test. Not just for Rutschman, but for the front office's own ability to make an honest and unemotional assessment. He needs to show that the slump is temporary, that he still has the power and precision at the plate that made him an all-star. He needs to regain the trust not just of the front office, but of all of us, the fans. We need to see that Adley Rutschman, who was the heart of the team, the player who could get the clutch hit when we needed it most. If he can't, if the regression continues, the decision will become easier, though more painful. The Orioles will need to move on, even if it means leaving behind one of the most symbolic players of recent years. It's the dilemma of professional sports. No player is bigger than the team, and a team's mission is always to win. The Orioles front office seems to understand this, and the move to make room for the young guys is proof that they are planning for the future. Now the question is whether the future has room for a declining former all-star. The answer lies in Rutschman's performance over the next few months, and we at Orioles Fan Central will be here to analyze every step of that journey. The big question, Birdland, is whether the Orioles should consider moving on from their former star slugger, Adley Rutschman. The regression in his game is undeniable, and the rise of Samuel Basallo presents a young and promising alternative. The front office's decision will be crucial in defining the franchise's direction for 2026. And now, I want to hear your opinion. What do you think of the team's recent decisions to give more playing time to the young players? What would be the best strategy for the next games, and more importantly, for the trade window? Does Adley deserve more time to prove his worth, or should the O's be pragmatic and consider a trade? Leave your opinion in the comments. Your voice is important to us. And don't forget to like the video, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel to continue receiving exclusive analysis and daily updates on the Orioles. Together, we are Birdland.